but it always kind of bugged me and kind of ate away at me. And I just thought, you know what, it's a logical fit. Why don't I get in the financial services business? I hate people getting taken advantage of. Why don't I teach them something and get paid? So I'll get to be in business and I can be a teacher at the same time. That's why I'm there. And then later I have an example. It's probably, you're looking at it right now. It's one of the reasons I'm in the business, if not like many more. So what's going on with people out there in regards to finance? I just thought I'd share that with you. So here's what I think is really going on out there. There's smart people, there's advantaged people, there's disadvantaged people, there's all kinds of people. Richer than you think, poorer than you think, average than you think, putting pants on, dresses on, blouses on, shirts on, ties on. And you know what we're all finding? Some people are living kind of quietly in a little bit of despair, not knowing what to do in their financial worlds. So I want you to just at least think about that in your own head a little bit and think, does that resonate? Is that making logical sense when I run into people out there? Sometimes it's the syndrome we all know about. The guy lives in an 800,000 square foot house, but he hasn't paid his taxes in 2 or 3 years, right? So I'm interested in talking to some of those folks. So despite them looking differently, we're really living a very similar life. So that's kind of what I think I see out there. And many are just like many of us. So how come people are living this way? So this is anecdotal, it's somewhat opinion. There's a million reasons why I think this, but here's a few. Sometimes we live in families that don't really give us very good advice. Is that possible? Sure, it's possible. Sometimes the industry out there doesn't really help us that much unless there's something pretty big in it for them. I don't know if you've ever seen an example of that, but blah, 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 and I got $50 a month to invest. What does the common financial advisor downtown in a fancy blue suit think about that? It takes the same hour to write the paperwork up and he makes 82 cents. Do you think he's really that interested in helping people out like that? No, those people kind of get pushed aside a little bit. So I like to see those kind of people. Sometimes people have a fear of loss or too much risk and they feel a little paralyzed, right? They may have some money, they don't know what to do with it. Others simply sit back and say, yeah, I've got some money, but it feels like too big of a nut to crack to figure out what to do with it. So they end up again doing the same thing, a little paralyzed, a little immobilized, not really doing anything with it. I'll tackle it tomorrow, next week, next month, next. It never happens. So when people feel like that, they don't typically put their hand up and say, yeah, Gerald, I could use a little help. They don't do that. They live quietly. They go on with their life. Life runs all of us over. And they don't necessarily put their hands up and say, yeah, I could use a little bit of help. But some will and some won't. And for the ones that will, I sit with them and I teach them. And the results is a family or an individual who usually feels a lot more mobilized and a lot less paralyzed and a lot more empowered about what the right steps are to do. And I just think that's what really separates us a little bit. So my next question to my own darn self is, do you have any examples of what we've done for families? Okay, yeah, I do. It's right in front of you. I've only printed 6 because I guess I'm cheap. But really, I want to explain this. This is a 30-year-old couple with 2 small kids, and they came to me. They were living check to check at best, but they did have a $36,000 pension, which was in a lira from an employer that he no longer was working at. And he says, what do I do with this money? It's currently earning 0.25%. So on the right-hand side, you'll see that 72 divided by 6% is going to create 12 years to double as a result. So if they're 30 years of age today, at age 42, there'll be 72,000 in the bucket. At 54, there'll be 144, 66, you can see it all the way up to 288,000 bucks. If they would have left the money right where it was, that money at the same time would be worth 39,000 bucks. That's not the magic. The magic is we ended up choosing a segregated fund for these folks. And when I mean segregated fund, that means it's privacy away from estate, it bypasses probate, bankruptcy protection. Those are some of the characteristics of seg funds. Okay, here's what happened. Check to check turned into I'm turning bankrupt. Guess what trustees do? They go after all your assets. Guess what seg funds protected this family against? The trustee taking their $36,000. So when they're 65 years old and I'm long gone, they're going to have $288,000 instead of zero. That's why I love this business. So in summary, I've made a couple of points to myself. I really want you to take this home. Many people are living the same way we are all living. We're all in this together. Some people say it, some people are public, some people aren't. People are paralyzed and immobilized because of it. And when a life transition comes along, they really just don't know what to do. In the auto body business, I call that get an accident, start talking like Barney Rubble. It happens in our financial industry too. You refer to me not because I promise great returns, but because I help people. I grab them by the hand and I take them through these life transitions. Anybody else can get the same old returns out there. That's just a fact of life. So what Cameron's talking about is a pretty big conversation, and it rhymes with, say, ETF funds and index funds. So if those funds are being basically touched only once in a blue moon, they'll be very inexpensive. But if it's a long conversation, but if you actually have a professional money manager looking after it, he better be earning his money, and certainly we can show you charts on that. So if you've listened to my presentation at all, you know that I just spent the whole time at 30,000 feet. And Cam's question, it's a very good one, but it's really a kitchen table conversation about returns, risk tolerance, so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, it's just part of the industry. It's just a humongous part of it, that's all. Yes, it's a lower cost fee, but you know what? Jason Chimera is a lower cost hockey player than McDavid. Do you follow? So I hope that's kind of the answer that makes some sense to you.